the off guy. Cool.
And don't talk film up. Welcome everyone to the Film Vault. That's really loud.
Oh, he's got a little bit of me in him.
Oh,
I
it
love
is.
this guy.
That's Anderson. I'm Bryan, your host for today. Oh, we got some exciting movies coming for you. The Banshees of Inishiren, Jennifer's Body,
Excited.
assigned to us by proxy. Dahmer will be Flickfest, as well as, I know you've been waiting for it, finally, Hocus Pocus 2.
Hocus, why are you doing that, Bryan? I mean, why are you doing that?
Mostly just a play clip.
And I love that it was a late edition too, like just under the wire.
No, Avery,
Must
you've been
include.
gone. Welcome back, by the way. Avery regales us with his presence this
Happy
week.
to
He's
be
on
back.
the mic already.
And he's been, I think it's been off air, but Bryan's been, unbeknownst to him, threatening me with Hocus Pocus 2. He's brought it up a couple times here in the studios, and I'm like, is he serious though? Like, I think he was talking to Florence about it. He might have sent me a text like, I'll probably be doing Hocus Pocus 2 this week.
Does Christy love it?
No.
Then why the fuck?
Why are you bringing it to
Because
the program? I watch things.
There's no reason to watch.
There are
Because-
things that I watch, Bryan, that I don't bring to the program.
This was a bit of a phenomenon. There are a lot of kids out there who are going to want to watch this, and one of our jobs, Anderson, like I like to say, is be a service to our listeners, and our listeners are going to plop their 8, 9, 10-year-olds in front of the TV while they watch Hocus Pocus, and they're going to think to themselves, the first film was beloved. Should I sit down and watch this?
Can I correct you,
I'm
Bryan?
here to answer that question.
May I correct you?
Yes.
Our listeners, everything you said is true. However, I think it's past tense. Our listeners,
I think it's already happened?
May have plopped their children down. It was during the witching month that this movie was released by no accident.
That is true.
It is about witches, and it's akin to a Halloween movie. And the plopping has already occurred, so it's too late.
They already know they made a mistake.
Yes.
Well, we don't know that for
And
sure.
now you're making a huge mistake by bringing it to this program.
Like I said, this is mostly involving one clip that I would like to hear.
You could bring the clip without bringing the movie.
There's at least a 30% chance Bryan assigns this to you if he wins.
That's true.
Oh, Christ, I hope you don't win because I got one for you, fucker.
You know what? I don't think I will because I don't believe we gambled last week.
No, we did.
No, you did.
Yeah,
We did.
Florence
Got it on
kind of
record.
pushed it on us, remember?
Yeah.
And she guessed 9 for like the Devil's Playground or Devil's Play or
How'd I do? Oh, save.
we'll figure it out.
Shit.
We will figure it out. Hey, this week we're doing top 5 guilty pleasures, which is a tough topic for me. More
Why?
on that later in the week. Why?
Oh, turns out I have dozens of contenders.
Yeah, because you and I consume movies very differently.
I'm surprised you have any guilt.
That's the Avery rule. Get into that because I struggle with that very concept this week. I'm like, I love this movie. No one else does.
This is
No,
just
I love
pleasure.
it.
We'll talk a lot about the term guilty pleasures, which is not I don't dig the term, and we'll talk about that later in the week when we do our top 5 guilty pleasures for the 3rd time on this here program.
me up, buddy.
3rd time we've done guilty
That's right.
pleasures. We've also done top 5 rotten movies, which is very similar to guilty pleasures. I got
Turn me
lists.
down.
I have our lists for all 3 of those, but it's something we're going to be doing here moving forward a little bit more often than not. Now that the show has gone into
Matured
its
into puberty.
13th
That's
year, I guess
right.
we've been doing it for 13 years now officially. We've been
as-
professionally.
as a downloadable podcast, but in some form or another. I mean, since
Well, I mean, we first sat down. We've done this so many times. We've had
2003.
this discussion so many times. 2003 is when we first sat down.
What about your boy?
for where it first all went wrong? But then we first started getting paid.
Ride your carcass into the studio.
First started broadcasting it to people beyond your friends, and we were actually getting paid. 2009 was the one that I don't even have the first air date. I'm sure Gio
Oh,
does.
no, it was 2010, buddy.
No, it was 2009.
It was 2010.
2009.
I thought it was after you guys.
It was for sure 2010 because
In
the first
at
episode.
KLSX?
The first episode.
That's what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
no. That was earlier. That was like
2000.
07.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought you meant as a downloadable podcast.
Well, I mean, it was
That
downloadable thanks to Gio and friends.
I thought Stefan was more. That's what you told me.
You know what it's like? It's like out here. I'm going to have to expand on this whole thing and explain what I'm talking about here. Out here in the Los Angeles area, there are 2 restaurants who both claim their claim to fame is that they invented the French dip during the Depression years. People's teeth were so bad they couldn't afford dentistry, so they needed something soft that they could eat. And it was back in the 30s when bread went stale very quick. I guess it still does, but it was hard to find fresh bread. So
There were bread lines.
the Coles is downtown LA.
I only know Philippe's.
They claim that they invented it.
Okay.
Great little restaurant. It's kind of turned hipster, but it's called Coles in the heart of downtown LA. And then Philippe's also claimed that they invented it, and one of them did. And it's not quite that, but Giovanni gets very upset if we suggest that Stefan, who is our Irish friend, who created a website for us, thefilmvault.net, way back in the day. And before podcasts were even a thing, Stefan
before.
was posting Gio's recordings to the site so people could go and download and listen to the show on demand.
If I remember correctly, you kept saying, "Thank God for Stefan."
I did, actually. I
Finally,
said that quite a bit.
someone has the initiative.
Stefan still listens. How are you, Stefan? And Giovanni still listens as well. And I send a fruitcake to Stefan every year.
Wow.
As a thank you for keeping the show.
That is over and above.
Giovanni
deserved.
is writhing in pain right now.
Do you think Stefan felt a kinship with the Banshees of Inishiren?
He may have. He may have. So, all that said, what the whole point of that diatribe was that we are going to start unearthing some of our older meat and potato episodes that we haven't done in over 10 years.
Not episodes, topics.
Topics. Yeah, not episodes. Yeah. Very, very good, Bryan. Yeah, so we're going to be bringing some of those back just because some of that, it doesn't make sense to just completely turn your back on some of these topics when so much time has passed and we have different lists now. So we are going to start doing that on a semi-regular basis, and I think it makes sense. Here's
I was going to say, is this this is ground zero then?
This
Guilty
is not the snake eating its tail. As
we
some people
will be
may.
updating our list.
We'll be updating our list, and Guilty Pleasures was one of the very first ones, one of the first ones we've ever done twice, too, because it's an easy topic to hang your hat on, and a lot of people...
For me.
A lot of people have long, long lists, Bryan, of films that they should be guilty to admit that they love.
That's true.
Yes.
I'm ready to do 5 more episodes. On Guilty Pleasures. Yes, it's been 10 years or more since we've done it, so let's unearth the topic as a fruitful topic, and we'll do this with a few. If you guys have suggestions, like, oh, I remember you guys did top 5 sex scenes or whatever it was, and way back in the Orange Couch days are now more than 10 years behind us. So
every single one
ready to refresh those topics.
They're classic rock by radio standards at this point.
That's right. Think about that.
So.
I'm excited. I have a long list.
That's this week's topic. Next week's topic, I like to get a little ahead of this and say thank you to Philip Crow, our most recent decider. He has assigned us, and this has been in the works for weeks now. He is a Marine vet. Thank you for your service, Philip Crow. And he had a grand idea of doing top 5 veterans, military veterans who have a career in the business. So whether they're actors or directors, we're going to cut it off there. Actors or directors who are veterans in one of the 5 armed forces. I guess there's 6 armed forces now, right?
Space Force?
Space Force is one of them, yes. But I don't think
that would be difficult to have.
Going to be the first actor from Space
Shia LaBeouf, a Space Force veteran.
But it will surprise you, some of the actors that we all know and love, to know that they actually have a military background as well. So
totally. I actually started, for a full disclosure here, started doing my research already and came up with a long list. And I think I'm going to go with actors who would surprise you. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I don't think it would surprise a lot of people to say, hey, Clint Eastwood has some military service in his background. It's like, yeah, no shit.
You know, Arlie Ermy was in the military.
Arlie Ermy.
Was he really?
Oh, yeah.
Arlie Ermy was?
Oh, yeah. For a long time.
Bryan, I can't tell if you're kidding right now.
So
I think you might not be kidding.
So I'll have a list of 5 that might surprise you.
Okay, good. Yeah, I have not gone that deep in my research. I have done a little beginning workshopping over there, and I wanted to keep it open for directors. I'm not there yet, so maybe we don't have any directors on the list. I don't know. We'll get there when we get there. But that's going to land. That's going to be released to the public on Veterans Day. So that's nice, and I'm very happy that we're doing this. It's a topic that should have been done probably years ago, and it's all brought to us by Philip Crow, who is a Marine veteran. Simplify, motivate. Thank you for your service, and what else do they say?
Hoorah.
Hoorah. Yeah,
or oorah.
Oorah. All right. Let's get to this week's. Anything else? Anything? Oh, and then also, we were supposed to be watching an assigned movie this week, which we did not get to.
Is that the one that cannot be accessed?
That's right. Andrew Martin.
That wasn't Hocus Pocus?
Not a Hocus Pocus. He assigned. That would be a real dirty deed, is to assign me Hocus Pocus too.
Wait, whatever happened to Hold Your Hand?
Hold Your Hand is not accessible.
Okay. What about, you said we were going to be assigned to another conservative movie.
Yes, we will be down the road, but not right now.
Okay.
But yeah.
Sorry, there's your rolling around.
Hold Your Hand was assigned to us by Andrew Martin.
I want to hold your hand.
I want to hold your hand, and
which I actually would like to see.
Of course you would. Paul McCartney is, I believe, sitting on that in his basement.
Oh right, because he owns the rights to the title.
But for whatever reason, you can't find that movie anywhere on YouTube. Nothing. It's just not out there. So, and I don't go for this either. Where like listeners are very kind and they're like, "Hey, I want you to watch this movie. You can't find it anywhere. I'll send you copies." It's like I don't want to see a movie that no one else can see.
This would be a fruitless discussion.
Right. So Andrew Martin has turned the page on that dream of us watching.
That's sad.
I want to skip with you, or whatever it's called.
How dare you.
And we're going to be watching Ikaru.
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 This is. I'm guessing it's not an English language film.
It is not. No.
I have to read this fucking movie.
Or dub it.
Yeah. I believe it's 1952.
Watch your tongue.
It is available.
How do you spell it?
Ikaru. Ikuru. Kurosawa, Brian, and I have not seen this one.
I don't know who that is.
And
I can't pay you spell it.
it's very highly rated, and it's definitely a blind spot for me. So I'm very, very thankful to Andrew Martin for forcing this down my throat, because I can't imagine ever just saying, you know what, I'm going to tuck into Ikaru.
IKI, perhaps?
IKU, bye. IKURU. Don't worry, I'll send you everything you need to know. All right.
There was a 1956 movie called Ikaru with an I.
IKU.
By Kurosawa.
IKU. What are you not hearing?
Look it up.
IKU. What am I saying wrong? Yeah.
IKI. Can anyone see this? IKI? There's a very bold IKI.
Oh, well, that's my stupidity shining through.
You can stream this on HBO Max
1952.
and the
1952, right?
the Canopy.
Yeah,
Yes,
1950. You said 56.
1956.
So why don't you go head out that door right there, because you were wrong.
2 hours and 23 minutes.
That's right.
I'm out.
Ikaru.
You can stream this on the Criterion channel.
Ikaru. How many Akira Kurosawa films have you seen there, Barbara?
Now, who's he?
It's so hard to work with.
This will be addressing quite the blind spot in my film knowledge, so thank you. Who is it?
Andrew Martin.
Andrew Martin.
Yes.
Andy Martin.
Who's doing better? He was going through some stuff, and he's doing better now. I don't know if I know that he rubbed a couple people the wrong way here and there, and he's doing better now. I've been talking with Andrew. Andrew's always going to have a very special place in my heart. He was the hardest working person on the grouper set. That's how I first met Andrew. He came to me as a PA.
Harder than Corona?
Harder than the finger trap?
I came back. It was the last day of shooting, and he was down in the pool scrubbing off the paint, the spray paint that we were all very concerned might not come off the pool. And
oh boy,
we had a very large deposit to the man who owned that house. And I don't know if it all came off, but thanks to Andrew Martin's diligence. I mean, he knew, you throw your all into a movie production, and I think he got it more than pretty much everyone else on that set. So.
I haven't found that.
What's that?
Throwing your all to a movie.
No, actually, do you want to
that
talk?
Happen? I was going to say, did that happen
I'm
on
kind of
Friday?
half-assed, and it turns out fine.
I shot part of Bryan's movie since
That's
we
right.
talked last.
Additional footage shot by Andy Cohen.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's what I was going to say.
And Key and Mike Tucson, was he
That's
there?
right.
Yeah, so Mike Carano and I were, I guess, we're on a hot
Carolina.
set. We're on a hot set for the Laughs at Bryan documentary that he's making. And
It is retitled Look at Me.
It was really weird.
Brian Bishop's
When we got there, we had the camera set up for a traditional interview, like, crisscross, right? And Bryan said, "Oh no, why? It's two cameras, but why are they not both facing this way?"
Yeah.
He wants to be like he's in stereo.
Yeah, like he wanted, and then we put out a third camera. He's like, "Okay, that one should go maybe a wide shot with the two of us, but make sure you get the two main cameras on me, different angles of me."
I did suggest a low angle.
That's not how interviews go,
And
Brian.
then just put a GoPro on the guest's forehead.
That's right.
This is what it's like to be interviewed by me. A POV shot.
I think it should just be go bigger than cancer.
One of our listeners said, "Hey, how was it shooting Brian Bishop Presents, a Brian Bishop story, Young Adult Cancer by Brian Bishop?" It's very funny.
Oh, you got to listen to art for this week, right?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, no,
involves
why did
you?
that make
Yes,
you think
I
of
did.
that?
All right.
How was it working for me?
Well, you know what? All kidding aside, Brian's a good interview. He's
Really?
very natural,
Oh, shit.
and
I don't feel like I do a lot.
I didn't know your subject, but he seemed to be very at ease. I get the feeling that he's always at ease, so I couldn't really tell.
You seem like a pretty chill dude.
Pretty chill.
First time I'd met him. So so we interviewed a comedian, cancer survivor, and we just we talk shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't say it
One
like
comic
that.
to another.
Just one comic to another.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Just one prominent comic.
You know what I
to-
didn't like though, and there's really nothing I could have done about it. But you're sitting there in your interview chair, and you got your little notepad in front of you. Prominent. It's prominent. It's like a prominent prop.
Yeah, but it was dark, so it kind of blended in.
No. You're just sitting there with your.
Well,
your
I need
book
my
on.
notes. What am I supposed to do?
I don't know. You maybe keep them a little askew. I mean, I tried not to direct. I tried not to bring my own flair to it at all, and I didn't. I just
Talk
get my
less
head down.
about cancer.
But you had
That's
your little
right,
book
that
there.
came up.
It was like you were reading a children's story to your your interview. That's what it felt like.
I can see that.
But we shot 4K, so you can this is not going to be consumed by anything beyond iPhones. Or phones, or maybe watches. So I would imagine
That's
you
really
can
hurtful.
punch in real
I
time.
really mean.
Punch in as tight as you like for that 720 experience.
Washes.
All right. Let's talk movies. Actually,
You were very professional. Mike, not so much.
I was very concerned at one point because of some issues that were happening. But because once you start with an interview like that, there's no stopping. It's not like what I do a lot of, which is you do the scene, then you do it again, you make adjustments.
Sure.
But once
You
you
can't
start,
be like, Jacob, please answer that question about your cancer later. I got to fix it.
you saw Bryan. You saw Mike and I going out in the hall, conferring,
discuss,
discussing, and Mike did a bunch of extra like handheld stuff too, 4K stuff on his phone, which will look fantastic. You probably never use it. I went into the company room because we were like in this hotel, and it was like these little like office spaces essentially. Because some of the stuff you guys were talking about was quite frankly offensive, and
Is that true?
oh yeah, talking about like semen in the brain and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And
Semen in the brain.
oh yeah,
It'll make
it
sense
gets dark.
when you see the film.
I don't think you're going to use any of this footage. But I went into the company room, the adjoining room. You could hear every goddamn syllable. So thank God that room wasn't being used.
I made that observation at some point. Did you hear that?
No.
I was like, thank God there's no. I'm like, Jacob was talking about like semen in the brain or something. And I'm like, there's 4 insurance adjusters next. You can hear you screaming about semen in your.
Well,
brain.
you were joking. You didn't know how unsoundproof those rooms were. So what was his name? You might as well.
Jacob Sharp.
Jacob Sharp. All right.
Sharp.
All right. Let's
I have a
move on.
tendency to hit my last syllable. Did we talk about this before? When I say talk.
Yeah, we have.
I'm surprised that wasn't on the top 5
Top 5 syllables.
things to change about the co-host.
Oh, that doesn't really.
Well, we got
bother
more.
me.
We got it. We'll do that episode every
Speaking
year.
of a long list, Brian's got a long guilty pleasures. I
true.
had long lists of things I'd like to. Well, both of those episodes have now aired on Patreon. If you'd like to hear what annoys us about each other the most, and it was quite candid, and if you would like to hear the things that we actually love about each other the most, which was very uncomfortable.
Very brief episode.
It was the shortest episode we've ever done. Oh, and our watch along, Jesus Christ!
Oh, Patch Blue.
Film Vault's been doing all sorts of stuff. Yeah, Patch of Blue was watched by us and the listeners.
I think enjoyed by all.
I think it was. I think people were giving me shit, trying to make me feel bad, but we watched a.
Is this you laughing at a blind girl?
Yes, it's exactly that.
A lot of it was that.
I laughed a lot because it's so soul crushing that all you can do is laugh. But it was also very, very pile on. It was very over the top because of 1965.
Yeah, fair to the era.
Yeah, but a great film, Patch of Blue, and I can't imagine a better way to have watched it than watching us two chuckleheads laugh. And I was given some tidbits about it as well. Where it was shot and.
That's right. We shot right at the park.
A lot of trinkets in the background that I was pointing out that were of its time. So yeah,
It was MacArthur Park, right? Is that what we decided?
MacArthur Park. Yeah, is where it was shot.
Very different than today.
The Westlake District. All right. So yeah, if you would like to watch that, once you come on at the $10 or above level, all of the films that we have watched along the YouTube unlisted
Private link.
links are all available to anyone at that level above. They're all there. So if you'd like to dive in and watch along other movies that we've done as well,
I still can't believe people do that. They watch it along with us, and they seem to enjoy themselves.
Yeah, it's a little community.
Quite the little community. Thank you for saying that. Quite the little community on the YouTube there. The little private link. People chat. People make jokes. We read and relay the best ones.
And we're doing a Lifetime movie next week, right?
Hallmark.
I keep doing that.
Way better.
Same thing in my head. So Brian's going to pick one here in the next 24 hours, and I'll be posting which movie that will be. I believe we have the date already, which will be Wednesday the 16th, if I recall. I
think that's what you had.
All right, cool. Let's get into this episode.
All right. So we also, for this week, have last call, first call.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So I don't know
yes.
if we want to get into that now or if we want to do that after the ad break for this episode.
Should we say this is going to be a robust episode? We're 20 minutes in. We haven't talked about
because last
movie.
call is going to be
we do that.
Friday
in a second.
episode.
Yeah, let's do Jordan Montgomery's first call. Let's do that.
First call.
Take it away, Avery.
So first call compiled by the
Jordan Montgomery.
the notorious Jomo,
Jomo.
is all of the movies and the content that is coming to streaming as of November. So, Netflix on November 1st, you're going to get Moneyball,
Ooh, nice.
Oblivion, Training Day,
Oblivion's not bad.
Up in the Air.
Oblivion, where was it shot?
Where was it shot?
Iceland.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Safe. And Key and Peele seasons 1 through 3.
It's not TV Vault.
Hulu, 28 weeks later, 8 Mile, Office Space, Punch Drunk Love, Say Anything, Shaun of the Dead, and Snakes on a Plane. These are Hulu.
These are movies that are coming. Right? First call.
As the listener hears it, it's on there now.
Right.
Just got on these platforms.
Say Anything and the one you mentioned after that, Punch Drunk Love, two of my absolute favorite love stories.
What about Shaun of the Dead?
I also love that movie, but
a
not for the
bromance.
love story.
Snakes on a
That's a
Plane.
good point. That's a good point.
Prime Video on November 1st. You got Face Off and The Machinist.
Fuck yes.
Two fun movies.
November 3rd, Cabin in the Woods. Triple feature.
Sweet.
HBO Max, you got Three Amigos, Caddyshack, Christmas Vacation, Neighbors, and Raging Bull.
I love the range. What is this? What is this? Is it Prime?
That's HBO Max.
HBO Max.
And then finally...
Oh, you say, sorry.
Yep.
Did you say... No, you didn't. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Way to
I
go,
did
bro.
not.
I thought you said Planes, Trains, Automobiles.
Very professional.
No, I did not. I did not.
Carry on.
And lastly, for Peacock, which do we have to give a shit about Peacock now?
I feel like we do because they're throwing money around.
I got Peacock. So.
Well, as evidenced by American Gangster, Big Lebowski, Bridesmaids, The Deer Hunter, Easy A, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Gremlins 1 and 2,
Christmas films.
Harry and the Hendersons, and Scarface.
All right.
And that is First Call, compiled by Jomo.
You know what? Jordan, I don't want to give any more work, but would it be interesting to hear the Criterion Channel coming and going?
No.
No? No?
Absolutely not.
It's so weird that Brian's a big Criterion guy and I'm the film snob about it. It is weird.
It's odd.
It's so weird.
Should we get into fan fiction?
My God.
Fan
We're
fiction.
ever going to talk movies?
I will never shut the fuck up. Compiled by the Mitch Burns. Michael Myers. Oh, relevant. On Facebook, per the suggestion of Miss Movies 3.0,
Don't say that. Don't say that.
I watched and loved Jennifer's Body. I remember when this came out and immediately poo-pooing it, but I'm really glad I took the time to watch it. Great combo of gore, humor, and originality. Beesh24
Bitch.
on Instagram saw Tar.
Oh, yeah.
Tar. I don't know.
Tar!
The new Todd Field movie, and all I can say is, wow.
Jesus.
This film may be the most accurate portrayal of what life is like in 2022.
I need to see this
That
so
sounds-
badly.
That sounds horrible.
Well, Anderson, it's hilarious, smart, and depressing. What an achievement! It may have been 16 years, but I will see everything this man makes.
He did In the Bedroom, and then he followed it up like many years later with Little Children, and now it's been 16 years since Little Children, and this is his latest film. And I'm pretty sure I know who Beach is. What's up, Beach? How you doing?
Is Tar streaming yet?
It is not, Barbara.
Unclear. David the Eller on Instagram. Confess Fletch. Pretty basic, but
So
I enjoyed
fun.
it.
So fun.
I like detective mystery movies, though. I can see how it would be a pointless watch for Anderson because he hates detective films, but he needs to calm down. It was fine.
Yeah. Calm down. It was fine.
No, it was not fine. That's my time to watch things was wasted.
Are you directing right now?
I am. Okay, back to you.
And lastly, Justin Wolfing on Facebook watched All Quiet on the Western Front. I hope it wins at least some awards, especially for cinematography. It has some sluggish points, but is beautifully shot and brutal.
I had to read that book my freshman year. You guys,
Everybody
you guys get
had
summer
to read it,
reading.
yeah.
You got summer reading you had to read before the school year started. That was one of the ones I had to read.
Reminded me a lot of 1917. If 1917 was more brutal and raw, great
No
war
shit.
movie. I thought 1917 was some
Pretty
brutal
and raw,
moments.
actually.
They could
Yeah.
only do so much. They were limited because of the nature of the shoot. Right?
Says you.
They couldn't like cut away to ECUs of wounds and whatnot. Bye.
MCUs.
ECU.
That would have been nice.
That would be nice.
A little
to
Wonder
cut
Woman. Get Wonder Woman back in there.
Comes fucking Hawkeye.
MCU. That Wonder Woman's DC there.
Come on.
Come on, buddy. What's the matter with you?
That's how divorced I am from that entire.
You should have seen the email I got from Gio about all that shit.
Oh boy.
Jesus Christ.
What prompted it this time?
I got an email from Stefan saying we were right on.
All right, let's talk movies and TV and whatnot. What we've seen, what we can recommend. Where do we begin? Where do we begin?
Let's just start with, we've teased the people long enough. Let's start with Hocus Pocus 2.
No, we're not going to do that to people.
Let's start with the Banshees. Banshees of Inishiren. This is a 2022 film, written and directed by Martin McDonagh. You might know him from In Bruges, 7 Psychopaths, which I quite enjoyed, 3 Billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. This stars Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, Kerry Condon, and Barry Keoghan. It's a very Irish movie. 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is in theaters now. This takes place, I believe the calendar that cut away too quickly was said like 1923.
I want to say 1924.
Okay, right around
I'm
there.
not doing that just to be a dick. I'm pretty sure it was 24.
I could be wrong.
Like it started like in April of 24. And then
going
April
straight
1st
from memory.
came into the storyline.
I will say this, Anderson.
Are they rowing, Brian? Are they rowing?
Are they rowing? Is there a row?
You guys rowing? Are they rowing? That means fighting, apparently.
That's right.
It means arguing.
I will say this. I alluded to this movie being, well, if you remember my brief prefliction to this, I called it a sad and bleak movie.
Yes.
I will say this. When I saw it, the way too eager audience who was there was chuckling quite heartily early in the film. Early in the film when, quirky characters are being introduced and characters are doing colorful things.
I think it's doing a disservice to call him quirky.
Not so much laughter by the end. Less laughter.
Well,
the laughter kind of petered out about 20 minutes in.
What you're describing is what we see quite a bit with Wes Anderson movies, where they're chomping at that
You
bit.
can't compare. These are all developed, well-written characters.
Funny. I walked into this theater and I was very pleased to see that there was only 3 other people in the theater.
Really?
I saw it on a Monday night.
Oh.
And I remember I had to move a bunch of things around and I didn't get to see it where I was supposed to see it. But I was disappointed. And then as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, you know what? This would be a lot more fun if there was an audience who was enjoying it as much as I was, because I was the only one laughing and I felt like a bit of a douche, which is not, that abnormal, but I was almost trying to stifle my laughter because it was almost echoing through. I was in the Prime Theater over there, the one that old Nicole Kidman walks into. Brian, if you must know, I was actually sitting in that exact.
Somehow being
theater.
a douche feels good in a place like that.
Don't do that.
I was sitting in not just obviously that's my movie theater I go to all the time, but I was sitting in the actual one that but then they cut away and she's actually not in that one because the Prime Theater looks different, but they make it look like she's going in that one. Long story short. I was wishing that there was more people in this audience with me because
laughter is contagious.
It was very, very funny at times, and then every time it was very funny, it would get follow up with something very, very dark and sad and depressing. And by the end, like Brian says, yes, a lot of the laughter dies. However, that said, this is a movie that should be seen by most everyone. This is a fantastic movie.
It really is.
I absolutely love this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't love it, but I can recognize this is a very good movie. And Martin McDonagh is a filmmaker who is on top of his game. He's playing the piano. You know what I mean? He knows exactly what he wants to do with every movement, every moment.
Is this like a movie to see once and never again, or is it?
I could see this again.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah,
you're kidding.
Because there's a lot of subtlety to this movie.
That is
this movie
it's almost
is
entirely
driven by
subtle.
subtlety, and
except for certain things.
This is only his 4th movie. It's by far and away my favorite of his 4.
No, it is not.
Really?
By far and away, yeah. I liked In Bruges a lot,
Wow. I love
but I
In
didn't
Bruges.
quite love it as much as everyone else did. 7 Psychopaths did not feel. It felt like he was stretching and trying to do something that he wasn't ready to do at the time, if that makes sense. And I love parts of 3 Billboards, but there's so much of that movie that I had issues with, quite frankly. That's 2, quite frankly. So does that new for me? But this one just hit the notes perfectly, and so it takes place for those
it does
of you
nail the tone.
who
Right.
don't know what it's about. It's quite simple. It's a small little remote island off the coast of Ireland, and you get the sense that maybe 50 people live on this island, if that.
It's a very small population.
And this one simple man, played by Colin Farrell, is very, very sad to learn that his best friend, played by Brendan Gleeson,
It's a limited pool to choose from.
has essentially unfriended him.
Yeah, that's right. He was unfriending in 1923 or 24.
Essentially, that's what he was doing. And I mean, you can't help but think about the modern take of this movie while watching this. But it's just such a small little snapshot of that. And the entire movie takes place on this island, and it's beautiful. You spend almost 2 hours. They're quiet, a quiet 2 hours with a very. while the score was great, I would have liked it to maybe give me a little more life, because the score was
sparse.
This is a dark comedy, and the score would lead you to believe that it's just dark, right? The score could have given me a little extra, but maybe that's just first viewing shit.
I did notice the score was, like I said, very sparse.
I was thinking, like, if the score was different or non-existent, like this could be like a straight comedy. Like it could have definitely been changed. The entire tone could have been changed, and it definitely took it down a darker path than maybe it needed to be. It was a challenge. It's 2 hours.
Did you notice there was like bombs and gunfire like in the background almost the entire time?
And that's not a mistake, right? I mean,
I think the I'm not educated on this, but there was some
civil war
some
going
conflict happening on the mainland.
So a larger version of their little mini war was waging, and it's men being petty, it's men being dumb, it's men being depressed, it's men being frustrated, it's men dealing with not just men, because like, his sister was fantastic.
She was
as well.
great.
Like everyone in
Carrie
this movie
Condon.
deserves to be nominated for awards.
Barry Keoghan was fantastic. If I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Keoghan, yeah, he's always tough. I love that kid's face, but yeah, he provided some great comic relief. Just like, as soon as you feel like it's just like it's too much despair, and you're kind of getting down the dumps, like there will be something really funny and give it just like life, right? And it'll give you like a little spruce, a little goose there, and you're like laughing, and then you're back in the story, and then you're going, oh fuck. I felt so bad for all of the characters involved. And it really deals with depression, I think, in a very real, honest way that I could definitely relate to all of the characters, but especially the dull one in Colin Farrell. Like it's his story. It's coming from his point of view, and he just fucking nails that performance like I've never seen him nail a performance before.
I was thinking about this movie a lot afterwards, and how it really walks a tightrope, especially of tone, and it could have gone so wrong so many ways. Just imagine if this was like the aforementioned a Wes Anderson film. Like imagine if Colin Farrell was like a buffoon, like a Homer Simpson type buffoon.
I think Wes Anderson's swinging too far that way. Let's say Coen Brothers.
Yeah, leave it out. Leave out.
Because it does have a little, like, if for someone who's listening to this and they maybe haven't seen Seven Psychopaths or Three Billboards or In Bruges, like the closest thing I could compare it to is maybe like a Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah.
It's got Coen Brother vibes, but it would have been definitely more over the top and more playing for laughs if it was Coen Brothers comedy.
This is a Coen Brothers. It has more, if it makes sense, it has more elements of like No Country for Old Men or even like Blood Simple, where it's very quiet, very deliberate. You know what I mean?
And they would do like
lurches forward. I don't mean lurch.
A noir or a comedy, right. And then every now and again they would kind of mix a little, like Big Lebowski's got a little bit more of not just straight comedy, right? Even though at second, third, fifth time you see it, you realize that it's more comedy than anything else. But yeah, what was your point?
My point was that I was initially, I think how many ways this could have gone wrong. Like Barry Keoghan could have been an over the top. I hope it's not Keegan, but either way, Barry could have been an over the top kind of wacky character.
Could we find out how you pronounce his name? I meant to do that all week, and
instead he was. Oh, I got one for you. I don't know. You always have to hear the person pronounce their own name, because this week I learned Paul Dano.
Dano.
Paul Dano.
Somebody sent me a YouTube thing.
I sent it to you. No, I stumbled across it. Like Paul Dano breaks down his
talking about himself.
Roles. Yeah. He's like, hi, I'm Paul Dano, and here are my blah, blah, blah.
It's Carrie, not Carrie, Barry.
Let's see what we got.
Barry Keoghan.
Barry Keoghan.
But that might not be the way that
I don't like the automatic thing. It's fine.
Barry Keoghan.
She's adamant.
That was very funny. Find Barry Keoghan pronouncing his own name.
But it's loneliness is definitely illustrated here, depicted here in a very real way, and you're on that island, and this is without even talking about the very, very high concept story, which it might be the most high concept story we're going to see all year.
It's a simple story.
In the sense that it's just the most simple story. It's about a man having his heart broken by his best friend and having to deal with that. And the way that Colin Farrell plays that character, where he's so dull without being dull.
But he's earnest.
He's earnest, and he's fucking hilarious. Like, he's so... I don't want to give too much away here, and I don't even know if we talk about... Do we do a spoiler here? We might.
No.
We might do 5 minutes on a spoiler. You always default to no with that, but I would like to talk about the ultimate what ends up happening here, which is a metaphor for war, I think, between men and whatnot. But it gets very, very sad. But then it always brings you back up and gives you enough
disagree.
life.
I don't think it always brings you back up. I think by the end, it's circling the drain.
I wouldn't say that. And there's enough to hang your hat on here where like 10 years from now, it's like that movie where this happens. And I don't want to talk about the consequences, which this movie is definitely about, consequences as well. I really, really liked it. It reminded me a little of All Is Lost with heavy dialogue. Got some similar, just because it's such the high concept of it all, and it's about immortality and dealing with something very, very simple and trying to get through it and still having laughs throughout.
In that sense, yeah.
Yeah, if I saw this before you saw it, I would have thought that you would have really liked it. And
I did really like it. I didn't love it quite like it. It was a 4-star movie.
Because I was watching and thinking, like, Bryan really didn't like this. How did he not like this movie?
I did not like it. I acknowledge I can like a sad and bleak movie.
Okay.
I don't know if I enjoyed it, but I liked it.
There was some really funny dialogue in here that was like laugh out loud. Like Kogan.
We ready? We got it from the man himself.
More wise words from Kyogen next week.
Kyogen.
Kyogen?
Fuck
Words
that.
from Kyogen next week.
Kyogen.
Fuck the Google.
You got to deal with an accent. But he's a really horny young man, and he really wants some ladies to be in his vicinity. And at one point, he says, "We could get at him with our small talk."
He's fun.
He's so fun.
Much needed comic relief.
And the little pony was fantastic.
A lot of fecking.
A lot of fecking, yeah. And
So how bleak are we talking? Because that's why I didn't see it.
No, it's not depressing.
Okay. That's what I was concerned about.
This is not the road.
Look, I was really tired when I went in and watched this movie, and sometimes movies like this, like even though they are depressing and lifeless at times, I'll come out the other side and be like energized and wide awake. I was still tired by the end of this movie, so it's not that kind of movie. It's subtle. It's Martin, the director, McDonough. He started off by doing live stage shows and plays, and this feels more like that than the movies he's done before. Yet the backdrop is beautiful and quiet, and you're in that space, and it's a great space to be in. It's a very quiet.
It's bleak in the sense that it's really about a guy who's bent on self-destruction in a way, self-destruction of his life, self-destruction of whatever surrounds him, and he carries it out to the best of his ability.
And then the doll character, Colin Farrell, Patrick, he can't help himself. Like he's just compelled to continue to go down this road.
There's a little Bryan and Anderson there.
A little bit, yeah. There's consequences, very real consequences.
Who's the destructive one?
He's facing
Brendan
Gleeson's very destructive. And there's this just to give you an idea of the flavor of humor, because it is a very particular flavor of humor, and I think a lot of people, I say everyone should see this, and that's just not true. Probably a lot of people probably wouldn't like this brand of comedy or wouldn't tap into it. But Brendan Gleeson's essentially saying, I can't be your friend anymore because you're dull. And I only have so many years left, and I want to spend those as creatively and as productive as possible, and spending time with you is not. So
you can see the parallels here.
I can't be friends with you anymore. And Colin Farrell's character is like, well, what are you talking about? He's like, Mozart. Have you ever heard of, everyone's heard of Mozart, and is he nice? Nice doesn't matter. And Colin Farrell says, well, I've never heard of Mozart, so there goes that theory. It's that kind of humor, and
that's great.
It's consistent.
It's very hollow laughter.
Yes,
but it's a very good movie,
and it's just so well executed and beautiful and funny but it's rewarding because you got to sit through it. You do have to sit through it at times, but I highly recommend this movie. I'll be very surprised if this movie is not up for Best Picture.
It's really good. Mm-hmm. It's a tough recommend to like the average viewer, though.
The average viewer, yeah. But the people that listen to a film podcast,
I agree. I think more likely to like it.
Most everyone is going, and it's not all male dominated. We definitely get the female perspective, which is
There's one female character and one witch.
Oh, and the witch, yeah, she is witchy. But the female's perspective, get this, is the most pragmatic and brightest of all of the characters. Yeah,
novel.
She sees the way forward.
And that bar is just something. I want to go have a drink at that bar. I want to have a pint in that bar.
That's right.
Old timey pint. Those beers are flat though. You have to take a cork out of it.
That's right. Oh yeah, the actual beer he pours out of the bottle.
I never saw anyone working or paying for things.
They all have tabs.
I guess he was working. He moved cows from one end of the island to the other for
That's
some
right.
reason every day. That was what he did. But there's fingers involved in this, and I want to talk more about that. That's another final thing on Banshees before we move on. Is if you're squeamish without giving anything away, I mean it gets a little hard to watch at times.
I mean, not on the scale of the films we talk about here, but
If you're signing up for a slasher, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
I don't know if people are going into this quiet little Irish film from the 20s. There's some.
I did appreciate that, and that like in the same way that I appreciated and enjoyed the end of Cabin in the Woods. It's like, oh, they said they were going to go there and they went there. Great. I love when a movie does that. Like this movie had an element.
But it's a
of that.
horror film.
Yes, but in the sense that when a movie sets up something outrageous and then follows through,
I mean, we're giving everything away now.
I think that's pretty.
Oh, we're giving everything. If it
Oblique.
sets something up and follows through, I mean,
That's not saying a lot.
it is when there's only one setup in this movie and they follow through. You just said. I mean, it's saying everything. What the fuck?
All right, I'm trying to be pretty oblique about this.
You're being obtuse, is what you're doing.
Obtuse.
All right. Have we said too much?
Pretty opaque.
Okay. Let's talk other movies.
There's no other movies.
One more and then break.
Let's take a break now because look where we are.
All right.
My God.
Break it up now.
All right, coming up next, more movies after this. Welcome back. Wait.
Oh, we're doing feels.
Oh, no one told me that.
Yeah,
I would've
doing
called-
feels.
I
we
would've-
always do the feels when we go here. Bri, come on now.
Inserting things.
Do you know how the world works? Do you know how the
How
show
dare
works?
you.
Do you know
The
how
insertion is seamless.
Come on.
Don't
Yeah.
we usually throw it a break?
Look, things you don't know about, just keep quiet and just do what we do every week.
Things
right.
you don't know about.
Yeah, so just always be quiet. See what I did there?
Yeah. I don't
Well,
know-
here I am
don't-
talking
don't
all
know-
this shit and I'm
I
misspelling
don't- I
feels.
don't know anything.
All right, let's talk a little feels. Brian, I took some feels this weekend.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What was the occasion? You had to work with me?
No, I was stressed. I
Really?
was so tired it hurt.
Was your boss being mean to you?
Oh, it had nothing to do with you. I said this weekend. I was not with you this weekend.
Friday.
You were my boss for a couple
Friday.
hours. And I know that
Oh, no.
brings you
was
great
it,
joy.
Was it Friday?
I don't know, Brian. I don't know. But
What happened at Fields?
I was feeling very anxious, and I still had like another 8 hours in the day. And I'm like, what? So I popped a mint, took the mint, and I'm telling you, like I forget that I took the mint. I forget. I have fresh breath. 10 minutes later, I'm like, I feel so much better. Oh yeah, I took a feels, of course.
Why is everything better?
It just mellows you out. It just makes you feel like you can focus better and you can just deal with like. It's this weird sensation where I feel like all of my cells are just like on, like, standing up, and I need them to at ease.
Sit down.
At ease.
Take a knee.
Yeah.
High quality premium CBD is what we're talking about from our friends at Feels. Start feeling better with Feels, you guys. Become a member today by going to feels.com/TFV, and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/TFV. To become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping, feels.com/TFV. All right, we are back for reals this time.
Check off shears.
That's true. I
Spoilers.
feel like you said more than I did.
I did. I pointed out your yeah.
What happened with the sniper?
There are big explosions in the distance.
That's true. There's constant gunfire.
I'd be worried about shelling and coming over. I guess it was far enough away off that Irish coast that they weren't concerned about being innocent bystanders in the Civil War that was waging.
Oh, a stray bullet unlikely to make it to the island.
I guess not.
I want to hear about Dahmer, so I'm going to get real quick through Hocus Pocus 2. 2022 film directed by Ann Fletcher, the director, you should know, of Step Up and 27 Dresses. Starring Bette Midler, Kathleen DeJimmy, Sarah Jessica Parker, Whitney Peake, Belissa Escobedo, Sam Richardson, Doug Jones, and Tony Hale. Voice of Forky, if you must know.
Gotta love the Tony Hale. What?
The voice of Forky.
He's Arrested Development. He's Buster.
I don't really talk about film, TV on Film Vault. 63% Rotten Tomatoes. This is on Disney Plus. I watched it because for some reason Tessa was like, I must watch Hocus Pocus 2. And I said, great, I will watch it as well. Perhaps this will be a beloved cult classic like the first one. It's not. I will say positively opens with an origin story sequence set in Salem with like young Sanderson sisters doing their witchy best and their whatever. Things happen, blah, blah, blah. I want to fast forward to... what's happening?
I'm doing a sideshow, Brian. For
Really
the
are.
because no one gives a about what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
At one point,
I'm gonna start showing videos on my phone.
a young person in modern day Salem.
This was Atticus for Halloween last
You're
night.
really ruining this. I'm trying to celebrate this film.
I sent him to school like that.
Oh, that's not bad.
Can you imagine? He was the only scary kid in the parade. I'm like, oh no.
I love it.
Okay, sorry.
So at some point in modern day Salem, some young teen girls conjure the Sanderson sisters, famous witches from Salem, and they announce that they have returned.
Brian can't
It's me,
do something if
actually.
something else is happening.
What? Zoom in. That's not bad.
I'll show the people. All right, sorry. This is. I'm making it a lot worse. That's what I do. I take terrible things and make them worse.
This could be over.
Oh, could it be?
I would have been done by now.
I doubt that.
The
You're
Sanderson
very, very
sisters.
teacher-like in that moment.
It really was.
Right. This is gonna be all over. Butt figure talking. Class, please thank Anderson for us still being here. The witches announced they've returned with a full-on song and dance number, which I
Christ.
did not see coming. Let's hear how that goes.
We were running wild and so reviled, raising Cain until we got exiled. But times are changing now.
Okay.
We're on the attack.
Wait.
Yeah, the spell is gonna hit ya 'cause the witches are back.
We're gonna get copyright infringed for this. The whole episode's gonna be ripped down from YouTube because of Hocus fucking
Keep it
Pocus
going.
too.
Keep it going.
No, I'm serious. Like that's gonna happen.
Absolutely not. Turn all the way down.
Turn it all the way down.
No.
Oh, good. Yes. That's what he said. I heard him.
He did say
He
it.
said turn it all the way down.
This does seem terrible.
This was one of the cringiest things. I was
It's
physically,
made for nerdy 9-year-old girls.
I was
Brian.
physically crawling in my skin during this sequence. And this goes on. This is not the only song and dance sequence in the movie, but they've announced their return with Patel and John's "The Bitch Is Back," and that was uncomfortable.
So it's gonna be double taken down.
It didn't get much better. Although there are a couple of moments. At one point, they go into Walgreens, and that's a funny sequence. At one point,
That's the high mark.
that's the highlight of the film, you guys.
Walgreens.
They ride brooms, but they don't have.
Oh,
brooms,
honey,
so
the Walgreens scene's coming on. Hurry!
one of
Bring the
those,
popcorn.
in the first film, one of them rides a vacuum cleaner, very funny. And this film, one of them rides Roombas.
I mean, where else would they have possibly gone? Of course, Roombas, yes. Like a cat.
It's a pretty offensive movie.
Okay, let's talk Dahmer. Let's cleanse the palate with some Dahmy.
Did they do the same song in Dahmer?
No, they did not. All right, Dahmer is a 2022 television show made for Netflix, and it's 10 episodes long. It's about an hour apiece, so you're looking at about 10 hours of your life is
Save
going
this
into
from TV Vault.
to Dahmer, and I guess this was released September 21st. So I'm a little bit late on it. I thought, why not watch it during the Halloween months? I twisted Jillian's arm, got her to watch it with me. This is I used the Ryan Murphy angle. I'm like, hey, you love that Glee?
Oh, Jesus.
I've been hearing
just like that.
really
without
good
the singing.
things about the Dahmer, and I
This is
was
the Glee of serial killer movies.
curiosity got the best of me because I was hearing really good things. And the documentary series came out around the same time as this last month or the month before. And apparently this was better than the documentary series. I knew enough about Dahmer because I was, of age when all the shit happened. And, even me, who was not tapped into the news and whatnot, knew about many
Couldn't
of the
get away
gory,
from it.
many of the gory details. However, Evan Peters is, I love that actor, and he played Dahmer, so I was very curious. Richard Jenkins is one of my favorites. And also it's the triumphant return of Molly Ringwald comes back, and she plays the stepmom to the old Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, fun.
Here's what happens while I'm watching Jeffrey Dahmer during this 10
really hope Atticus walks in.
episode. I was concerned that he would walk in a few times. You hear me saying out of uncomfortableness, nothing other than uncomfortable
Just say
moments.
discomfort.
Oh, Jeffrey. I was saying that throughout.
Why?
Oh,
is that
Jeffrey.
what's that?
This is not a show to watch before hoping to put moves on your friend, your lady friend or boyfriend or whoever it might be. Like after watching this, showers need to be taken. This is a very, very disturbing depiction of a disturbing story. Many of the episodes are directed flawlessly, I should say, by Jennifer Lynch, who used to go by Jennifer Chambers Lynch. She is the offspring, the daughter of David Lynch, and she directs much like him at times, actually. And this movie is this TV show, this 10-hour movie, is very well acted. It's very hard to watch,
Enjoyable.
and it does something that I was hoping it wouldn't do, which is get you to empathize with every single character in it, including Jeffrey himself. And I was a little disturbed and disappointed to see just how far they go to get you to empathize with Jeffrey, to the point that by the end of the 10-parter, I'm guilty of it, and I knew it was coming, and I knew I was going to have these feelings. I didn't want to watch his demise. I felt bad for the fella, and I don't want to feel bad for a fella who knows that his brain is broken and that he's ruining countless people's lives and continues to do so because of compulsions. I don't want to feel bad for that guy as he gets taken out, and I did. Not nearly as bad as I felt for the victims, which they paint pictures of. The deaf guy in particular, Tony, was in particularly very, very brutal. This is very well done. However, I can't recommend it. I can't recommend spending 10 hours watching this when there's so many other things to watch that don't make you empathize with an absolute and total fucking monster, which is what this is called. Dahmer Monster, the story of Jeffrey Dahmer. The way that it's edited and put together non-linear is just fascinating. Like it opens up with the guy that gets away, that gets him caught.
Oh, right.
Who brings the cops back. That's the scene that it opens up with.
Interesting.
And then it goes from there, and you get to hear from his poor neighbor who could smell it through the vents, and it becomes her story at times.
Smell what?
Niecy Nash.
Oh, Niecy Nash.
home
Yeah,
cooking.
she's fantastic.
Was she the one that you dropped the very uncomfortable other drop, the wrong black lady?
No, I don't think so. That was Lonnie Love and
Monique?
I think Monique. Yeah. Yeah, I had a Brian, you got to dredge that up. I had a drop of one of our guests saying, "But I'm real fat," and I played it for her when she was on the show, and she goes, "No, that's the other big black lady." I'm like, "Oh,
That's uncomfortable.
I'm sorry." What?
But it was still funny.
It was funny. It was funny. Took one for the team there. But yeah, this is incredibly acted, incredibly shot. The story is, it feels like it was an honest depiction. However, I didn't need to. And Evan Peters is, for those you might not be able to place him, he plays Quicksilver, I think, is the most memorable. He's also in first season American Horror Story. I love this actor. He's there, you can't help but like him at times, and I found myself imitating, talking like him. He's got a very particular way of talking. You feel so bad for his father, Richard Jenkins, but I think that it's just, I don't know what's the point. Why are they making us empathize?
Yeah, 10 is a lot to slog through this.
And it was just dirty. Now, what I thought they were doing at one point, and because the wife tapped out, but then I got her tap back in, and I said, I think what they're doing, because the first 5 episodes is pretty much Dahmer's story, and we're seeing him do his thing, non-linear, but we see his story, his upbringing, his first victims, all that stuff. But they're also getting you to empathize with him a little bit and seeing, he's fucked up from the beginning, he's bullied, and he's a product of his environment to an extent. And then it flips and it becomes more from the victim's point of view, starting episode 6. And I thought that they were going to go hard with the victims, which they did, and get you to really empathize with them and care for them and feel guilty for ever caring for Dahmer. But then they bring it back around and get you to care for Dahmer again before it's all fucking said and done.
Sleight of hand.
So I thought it was going to be really almost like genius in the sense of how they were mentally fucking the viewer by almost like Gaspar Noé does
the old bait and
with
switch.
some of the irreversible stuff that he did. But no, they brought. I mean, if, for those of you who might not know, like Jeffrey found the Lord. Get this, found the Lord and got baptized before his ultimate demise in prison over there. And I guess a lot of Christians are coming out saying, "See, even Jeffrey can be saved." And I heard Stern playing a montage of people on TikTok mainly talking about how bad they feel for poor Jeffrey. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Good Lord.
Is that
What
where
are we
we're
doing?
going with the mental health movement? Is that how far?
Yeah. Is that?
I mean, he's obviously afflicted by mental illness, but it doesn't absolve him, right, of the things that he did.
Of course not. And there's so many people to feel bad for out there. We don't need to be spending time and energy feeling bad
like
for
the fucking victims.
Yeah, the victims right here, which they don't just pass off the victims. You feel bad for all, and you see the actual pain that even his neighbor went through, played by Nicey Nash.
Let
Do you
me,
think it was irresponsible to some degree?
Yeah, I mean, anytime especially when they didn't get the blessing from the families. And,
is that true?
yeah, apparently a lot of families are very upset that he's all over the cover of like all these magazines again. He's the talk of town,
Just
again.
so they put it behind him.
Yeah, so. But yeah, you feel bad for everybody. You feel bad for the parents. You feel bad for the parents of the victims. You feel bad for the parents of Jeffrey. You feel bad for the neighbors. Yeah. But here's the one thing that it did do very effectively, I think, in that it's not a good time to be a cop right now. I mean, the cops take a terrible, terrible beating.
Well,
in
didn't
this.
they show up to his house at one point?
That is all covered,
Okay.
and it's also
That's what I
covered
was
how they
heard.
get reinstated and they're treated like those same cops. I didn't do a fact check on this thing, but they'll have you believe, and it might very well be true. These cops were not only kept on the force after having what they, for those you might not know, they returned one of his victims, who was a 14-year-old boy, back to him. And they said, "Oh, it's just a lover's quarrel, and we don't want to get involved. Here's your boyfriend. You say he's drunk. I'm going to believe you over your neighbor who's going, no, it's a kid, and he's dangerous. Do not return him. Ma'am, stay out of this. We're the cops. We'll handle it." They find out that the cops gave this child back to the monster, and he was ultimately killed and eaten. And those cops are they have to take like leave. I don't think. They had to go on like
paid leave,
maybe. And
Oh,
then they got
have to go
reinstated, and then they do this really interesting cross cut in one of the episodes where Nicey Nash is being honored for being citizen of the year or whatever, for bringing light to this is after Dahmer got caught, obviously, and she's in this with a few other citizens in this tiny little basement, and it's all like sad, and then it's cross cutting with the cops, these two same cops who are like awarded Cops of the Year or something for standing strong and all the shit that they had to go through, poor cops for being accused of doing wrong, which they did, and it's like this big grand ballroom, and they're getting all the accolades, and cut back to her in her quiet little basement being awarded this little piece of paper. Yeah.
In the same way that like the best part of Thanksgiving is the leftovers. You cook too much food. I'm surprised you never went after Nicey Nash.
What do you mean?
She's a larger gal.
Oh no, he only liked the boys.
Okay.
He only liked the
Oh, I
fellas.
see. They
all
tasted
17.
Oh, no kidding.
All 17 of his victims were fellows.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, because the ladies don't have the most. I don't want to.
My joke was tasteless, but
I
carry
know.
on.
I didn't do it. And there you are. That's what you do.
Let
That's
me-
what you do.
let me add
You're
to
trying
this.
to entrap me. You're like, oh yeah, please carry on with your joke.
I would like to hear it.
I'll tell you off air. No, I won't even do
Patreon?
that.
Bonus?
I felt bad for having the wife watch it too. This is it's funny because it's very well made. Jennifer Lynch can direct. Oh, there's this one shot where it just shows the door kind of starting to close, but it doesn't quite close, and it's really a swing to even including that shot, but it was so effective, and there's some really on point direction in this thing. I wish I could recommend. Hey, if this was all fiction, I'd be like, holy shit, one of the best TV shows of the year, if not the last 5 years. But
Spent a lot of time on this. Hey, let me add to this in the only way I know how, because I have not seen it.
Hocus
But,
Pocus 3.
How dare you? Funny coincidence, Anderson.
You also have a taste for human flesh. We know that, right?
That's not funny. There's a coincidence, though. 20 years ago, in 2002, there was a movie released called Dahmer that also starred as Dahmer, someone from the MCU.
I know. Hawkeye.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the then unknown Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, I think that was one of those first gigs out of like Project Greenlight.
No, there was a reality show called The It Factor.
It was called
actually a pretty
the Project
good.
It Factor.
It was a pretty good reality show, and he's like the only one who really made it. Anyway, co-starring as his dad, another Marvel actor, Bruce Davison.
Well, I mean, you don't have to say if they're an actor.
They're probably
and
a
they're
Marvel
a working
yeah.
actor. They're a Marvel
That's actually fair.
or DC actor. Yes.
All right, that's all I got.
Everyone with Brad Pitt, right? Brad Pitt's the only one who's
He was in Deadpool.
No!
Oh, gosh, yeah,
Clooney?
Deadpool 2.
Clooney?
I mean, Clooney's a sellout. So
Cruise?
I respect that. All right, do we do Jennifer's Body next week? Because Jennifer's Body, I would assume you're going to recommend it to everyone, and maybe more people can watch it before we Flickfest it next week. What do you think about that? What do you think about
You're
that?
saving it for next week?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because
I will give a pre-fliction.
this is a Bryan movie.
Anyone who heard, here's a really weird coincidence, not about eating people, but about movies. Over the weekend in our live shows in San Diego, the old Adam Carolla show there, we play the Rotten Tomatoes game where we look back on old movies and their scores.
Did you take that from this show, or did vice versa?
I don't think it was even my idea, actually.
Because we've been doing that for a long time. On
Sure,
this here
but
program.
we guess the score of new movies coming out. This is like
Oh, it's totally different.
Totally different.
You guessed the scores of old movies.
That's right.
Would you listen, Mo?
Oh my God, it's so different. but you're cannibalized. That is the coincidence. You're cannibalizing our show.
He's Dahmer.
But I'm not
Wow,
that.
you are.
We've never done a movie there. We've done here.
You're the 14-year-old boy.
I don't have a leg to stand on because I started my own film podcast away from this one, and I'm cheating on you on a regular basis with Greg Strzowski, who,
Out in the
by
open.
the way,
Out in the open.
Greg is a active member on the Facebook and the Twitter. It's come to my attention.
The Film Vault.
Yeah,
Facebook?
yeah, yeah. He's
Don't
a
like
listener.
It. Don't
How
like
are
it.
you,
Greg,
Don't like it for
Good
nothing.
to see you, Greg.
would you listen, Greg? Greg's about. I had to have a come to Jesus moment with Greg because I'm like, oh, buddy, on our Patreon episode last week on Cinematics, I had to be like, I was talking some shit about you, and I felt really bad on the way home.
That's really mean.
I was talking about how he.
About him.
About lensing. Yeah, about how
yeah.
he says lensing and stuff. Oh, I love Greg. Greg is my favorite person I do a show with.
That's hurtful.
That's hurtful to Mike.
Mike doesn't listen.
That's a good point. Weirdly.
What about Tai Tai? That's
so
really
we're-
hurtful
we're-
to Tai Tai. You won't even say it's
know-
hurtful to Tai Tai.
Who is that? So we're doing an episode. We're doing a game themed around San Diego-born actors and movies they were in. And all of a sudden, Adam Brody comes up, and they're like, he was in Jennifer's Body. I'm like, I fucking watched that movie that day. That day, I had just finished the film, and I thought to myself, this is enjoyable, not great, but certainly not bad. And I guessed 66%, or whatever it was that I guessed. And it turns out it's 45%.
Jennifer's Body is?
Yeah.
This is a Bryan movie. This
was
is a movie
unfair.
that Bryan
This is a
will
fun
love.
movie.
I would think a lot of people would love this movie.
Sounds like a great chance to plug the Film Vault.
That's right. But I did not.
Oh, you idiot! God damn, I hate you.
I said it for another film podcast that I do.
For Mo. Hey,
It's called Mo Movies.
yeah, I think that a lot of people would like this. It's readily available, and I say that we give them a heads up, and I think give some comps, some comparable movies. I would think Freaky Friday is a comparable movie.
Oh, wow. I disagree about that. Aside from the obvious
Similar tones, right?
Freaky Friday?
Yeah.
You mean
Not
freaky.
freaky, is what I'm
Freaky,
saying, yeah,
okay.
which is our take on Freaky Friday.
You
I've
can
never seen
understand my
Freaky Friday.
confu-
Yes,
Oh,
I
really?
do.
You never seen
Yes. So,
You never seen it?
I've seen it. I think there's a couple versions. I've seen them both.
Yes, Freaky it's not as good as Freaky, but it's got that sort of wry, self-aware. It's a Diablo Cody written movie, so the characters are going to have some snappy dialogue.
Yeah,
and
what
some
you and
references.
Florence was saying, it's not too Diablo Cody. Don't
I
worry.
disagree.
I was writing down some of the
Yeah,
quotes to
that-
prove that it is very. It's not nearly as Puffy Chair. What's the fucking name?
Juno?
Of that? Juno. I say because it opens up with. It opens up with a lazy boy in the front yard, and the audience was just losing their shit. They thought it was the funniest thing they'd ever seen committed to film. A chair in the front yard? People were fucking laughing heartily, Brian. And I knew I was in lots of trouble. Lots of trouble.
Oh, no.
No, I'm talking about Juno.
Juno.
But yeah, so there's definitely Diablo, but this is much.
I will say Jennifer's Body was way better than I expected. That it had any right to be.
Yeah.
I
Like-
thought this would be trash.
Like in Fanflictions, we heard earlier this week, earlier this episode, like somebody thought that they dismissed it when it came out, which I did too.
Same.
It was an enjoyable watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Not going to change your life, but a great way to pass the time.
Yeah, so I think a lot of you, if you're looking for a movie to
Is it
watch,
streaming
this
anywhere?
week, this
Did we say
little
that?
Prefliction.
Stream on Prime, right?
Yeah, it was streaming. I think
Okay.
a few different
Prime Video.
places. So
Nice and easy.
and it's Prime. Speaking of Prime, it's Prime Megan Fox. Prime
She is.
Megan Fox.
She is a vision.
even
Don't sleep on Amanda Seyfried.
I mean, she wasn't set up to be a vision
I know,
in this.
that's
And
true.
even when Megan Fox, when they were trying to ugly her up, which goes, it's part of the story. Like they just couldn't do it. They couldn't do it, right?
You know what didn't love about the movie? J.K. Simmons.
Why did he have to be missing a limb?
Why do you have to have a wig? Why do you have to have a lisp?
A final thing, and we'll talk. We'll do Jennifer's Body next week. I recommend it to most of you. I think you'll have a good time watching it. And you'll be able to follow along when we talk next week. I'm watching the 4th iteration, and I've mentioned this before. Spider-Man cartoon with Atticus, and it's what we do when he gets home from school. We have a little snack, and we watch like 22-minute episode of Spider-Man. Tradition. Yeah, it's great. And we're on the 4th series now, right? And this one is the most recent one. It's Marvel's Spider-Man. It's on Disney. And I don't love Peter Parker's iteration in this one, but there's some good animation, and I'm liking it. But you know what the main thing that was really bothering me?
Tell me.
Is there was no Jonah Jameson.
Oh,
and like, how do you not have fucking Jonah Jameson?
He brings the spice in the soup.
And I was thinking, you know what? I've dismissed Bryan's opinions for years, and I will continue to do so.
Yeah.
However, I gotta hand it to you. You're always talking about Jonah Jameson and
love that character.
and how well he's.
Let's hear some
played.
Jonah Jameson.
No, we're not gonna do that. But you know, every time I am enjoying him in any of these Spider-Man iterations, thanks to Gio for suggesting it almost 6 months ago now, and we've watched like hundreds of episodes. He is the best part of Spider-Man. I think he's fantastic, and boy, was I excited to see that he is introduced season 2 of the most recent Spider-Man animated series. So, and he's a very good iteration too. Very good iteration. Oh, it's good stuff. It's so much fun watching with the 5-year-old, now the 6-year-old, and he's seeing the same characters but played by different voice actors, and completely different versions and different. It's fun for me, and it's kind of breaking the brain of this of my son. It's really fun,
expanding his horizon.
Yes, and like Giovanni suggested, like is really getting him to pay attention to continuity and what came first, like and trying to guess who's doing that, and like maybe it's this guy, and it could be Green Goblin, but he's supposed to be dead now. Is he dead? That kind of stuff. Good stuff.
I have a confession to make. I actually started watching it too, based on Stefan's suggestion, and I very much value that.
You really should, because Gwen Stacy plays big roles in some of these, not all of them. It's especially the more recent ones. They've learned to put in Gwen Stacy more often.
Tessa was wearing a Gwen Stacy coat yesterday.
Kid Arachnid is also in this one quite a bit. That's Miles.
All right, guys. So like we said, Jennifer's Body coming up next week. Enjoy that if you like, and follow along with us. Thank you to Tyler Scruggs. That's who you hear right now. He's our featured artist this week. Check him out over at AndersonandBryan.com. AndersonandBryan.com is where you can find the Amazon banner. You guys did an amazing job of tapping that and getting some Halloween costumes, and we got Black Friday coming up in a few weeks, so please keep us in mind.
What was Tessa?
For Halloween?
Yeah.
Pirate.
A pirate?
Pirate.
Oh, it's cute.
She assigned us costumes.
Slutty pirate?
It's really hurtful.
Well, I mean, they usually
really
are. I mean, pretty much all pirates are slutty at this time of year.
Case,
okay, good.
Case.
Look, he's really mad. Look at! I made him really mad. Finally.
She told Christy that she had to be a zombie, and she told me that I had to be a vampire.
Oh, so you guys did what she said.
So I dressed up for Halloween for the first time.
So she's a domineering pirate.
Yeah, that's right. She's a pirate captain.
Oh, yeah. I'm the captain now. Yeah, Atticus was a pirate, I think 2 years ago, maybe. Cute little pirate. This year he was
sexy pirate, slutty pirate.
Oh yeah, he's a slutty pirate. This year, Grim Reaper.
Really?
Yeah, he's just obsessed with killing and
death.
Oh,
fun.
Yet he's.
Are these like Dahmer warning signs?
He's ushering flies out of the house with me. So we will never kill a spider.
He has like a John Doe proprietary sense of who should live and die.
Yeah. What are you gonna be? A Reaper? No one can understand what the fuck he was saying. I'm like, dude, say Grim Reaper. They'll get it.
All right. Smart. Anderson and Bryan on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Sorry for asking if your daughter was slutty.
YouTube/The Film Vault Podcast.
It was wrong. I realized it as soon as I said it. Should
I'm glad we corrected the record.
At least 4 or 5 years before I make those jokes.
It's funny.
Thank you.
It's funny as soon as I heard it.
Thank you to all of our Patreon listeners. We appreciate you guys. I look forward to the upcoming watch party on the 16th, I believe. Thank you to Giovanni for all the recommendations, and of course Stefan, Jordan Wolf, Jomo, Jordan Montgomery, Mitch Burns, and of course Mike Cole. How's that Antiques going? What do you got?
Yeah, you know what? I had to go on my own last Friday, and I think I crushed it. I was very nervous going all by myself. Jillian had to be on a call, and I went across town.
What'd you bring back? Pirates?
I brought back some original art from Brazil.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Brazilian art.
I'm kind of in love with these two cats, and they're prominently displayed. right below my television set, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like live with selling them. I love these things.
Well, maybe we'll have to stay.
Got a bunch of tins and some old towels, dish towels from my childhood. A lot of it is the member berries for sure. It's like, oh, I had those towels in my kitchen when I was a kid, and those are the exact same towels, and they've just been sitting in a drawer for the last 30 years. I love them. Yeah. So
Noddy's Antiques. Check them out on Facebook. Avery, any dates coming up?
Oh, shit to plug next week.
Okay, wait till that. Until then,
Stephen McCune is who we want to give him full credit. Stephen McCune.
I don't know who that is.
He's the guy that kept the show alive.
Invade the Decade is Avery's podcast. Check that out if you dare. And until next time.
We do it for Van Gogh.
Time.